Hey guys, it's Hayden here making another video. Today I'm going to talk about the age-old question that most religions are trying to answer. Different spiritual people in history have talked about and tried to explain. And that is, why are we here? What is the purpose of our existence? Where does it come from? Why does it exist? All of those big questions. I want to talk about that today. And yeah. So I'm going to start at the beginning of creation. I do believe that there is some force or something, or maybe it's not a thing, that created all of existence, and it's being held by the hand of love, basically, or some kind of high vibrational energy that allows everything to exist, that allows everything to be in existence. And it holds everything. It's non-judgmental. It just allows things to exist. Its goal is to just expand into love and to share, basically, is my understanding. And from this core, where everything comes from, where everything exists from, there's these little filaments that come out from it. So all of these different individual aspects of it come out and form different things. So we have the physical world that is created out of that. We have the individual souls that are created out of that. And all of these different things emerge because it wants to expand, it wants to grow, it wants to see more and do more and become larger and understand itself. So it fragments itself into smaller parts that identify themselves as individuals. So a soul identifies itself as an individual. It separates from the source. It's still tethered to the source, but that individual is identifying as its own unit temporarily to understand itself, to learn, to grow. But essentially, it still is the source, but it's temporarily identified as something different. The soul then chooses to go to different lives, different experiences, to identify further and to individualize further, in order to have experience, to disconnect from the unity of what is everything, to get a better understanding of what it is to be separate, or what it is to grow, or what it is to learn things in a different state of consciousness than it would be when it's immersed in the unity of all things, which generally is more accessible when you're in a soul state versus in a physical state. So the reason we come into these experiences, and I do believe in past lives, I do believe that we have had multiple existences, not just in a physical plane, but probably other planes as well. I believe that the soul seeks out experiences that nourishes its own goals, that nourishes its own sort of objectives. I think that each spirit has its own sort of journey that it's going on, and that it's trying to find out more about itself, to expand, to grow, to nourish itself, and learn lessons ultimately. Become larger. And so it chooses specific experiences, specific lives that will contribute to that growth, to the goals that they're seeking out to learn. And so the life that we're in now is one of those lives, is one of those experiences that we've chosen to come in for one reason or another. That's something that, you can find. It's already written on you. Like, you know what you're here for. Maybe not consciously, but on a subconscious level, you know what you love to do. You know what interests you. You know what sort of process you're interested in learning about. It may not become quite clear until you become more familiar with yourself and listen sort of to yourself more. Some people are just thrown right into it. They know exactly what they want to do when they're born, and that's the path they follow, and then they just go for it. Some people have a little bit more of a problem finding what they're here for, but the irony is that usually that's, to some degree, at least my understanding, I could be wrong, but sometimes getting lost is part of that path, part of finding one's truth, part of finding who you are, is getting a little bit insecure or a little bit unsure about yourself or not sure which direction to move in. Getting lost can sometimes facilitate you understanding what you would like to do next. And maybe it helps you to break up some of the things that have been taught to you in your situation that you chose to go in, So then you can decide to do something else instead of what you were conditioned to do in the environment you were brought up in, whether that be cultural or family or in school or just, whatever environment you grew up in. So there's lots of different variables that can play into a life that we live. But ultimately, from what I've been told by a psychic medium, is that we have guides that help us through our lives. So we're not like on this journey alone. We choose to identify with this individual experience, but we're not alone in that experience. We're guided by different, like a council to some degree, or like beings that have gone through these experiences before and have sort of mastered those states, so they can guide us through this process of our own growth, which is also probably facilitating their growth. That's part of their path, is to assist others on their journey as well. And they help us to go through those milestones that we want to accomplish, those goals that we're trying to accomplish in this life. They help us through that journey. And so it's a combination of that group of people that are helping us, or the group of beings that are helping us through that path, and our soul's purpose and sort of the goals that we had in this life that sort of determines sort of the things that happen in our life. So our conscious mind really isn't what drives our life. The conscious mind plays an aspect. We do have free will. The shape of our experience, from what I've been told, is kind of created because we want certain challenges in our life. We want to go through different things that will help us understand things about ourselves. But the actual contents of that shape will vary based on the choices you make in your life. And so the purpose of this life ultimately is to grow, is to nourish your soul, is to learn things, and is to experience a different way of being. I may be living a personality that I've never really played with before. I've never had this kind of experience of maybe being this in this kind of culture, or maybe this kind of genetic disposition. And so it's a new way for me to explore my own boundaries, and a new way for me to explore, sort of what I would like to learn, but with different challenges. And sometimes there's kind of a misconception about past lives. I think all my memories and experiences and stuff like that will be transmitted and registered. Well, not transmitted. It's like the soul is bigger than like my physical body. It's just like this vessel is just sort of an extension of the soul, I think. But Hayden himself, like myself, I'm not going to be reincarnated, but the aspect of myself that has the experiences and the knowledge and the lessons and stuff like that, that will be brought back into the soul, and that will be distributed into the other experiences that I have as well, depending on what goals and lessons I want to learn in those other lives. The reason I think that this is helpful for me to understand, and if anybody resonates with this, then the reason I feel like it's helpful for you to understand this is because everything is not as it seems. It seems like we're separate. It seems like everything is, different, and we're having these experiences that are difficult and stuff like that. And we are, on some level that's true, but on another level, there's a process that's happening that is enriching us, that is enriching our soul, enriching our experience. And on a soul level, we're growing. And we're learning from this experience, because ultimately this existence is temporary. So we may have traumas in this life, we may have difficult experiences in this life, and maybe we don't resolve all of those in this life. Maybe it takes another life to go through those and resolve those issues that we have a problem with, and that's a theme that we have a problem with our soul. But ultimately, like, our goal is to grow as a soul being, and we're going through different trials and tribulations, and we're doing different kinds of work, we're exploring different things, and it's all because at a deep level that maybe we can't consciously understand, but if you access different altered states and different experiences that allow you to get in touch with that aspect of yourself that is your soul, then you'll realize that there's a lot more going on, and the lessons that you're learning now have been things that have been passed through many, many, many different lifetimes that you're working on, and working on the front edge of your development. And so it's basically like you're a big mountain, you know, and you're at the top of your mountain. You're trying to find how to get a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. You're finding new challenges, new things to work on. And so it's this really beautiful process that can look really ugly at the front end of it, in the nitty-gritty stuff. But on a larger scale, if you look at it from a distance, you'll see how beautiful your development is. You'll see how beautiful this process is that is allowing you to grow and allowing you to have temporary experiences that allow you to have different kinds of lessons and transitions and different things. And then you can go back, reset, and have another experience that will allow you to go into a different direction if the direction you're going in this life isn't serving you in the way that you thought, or the soul didn't learn the lessons that it didn't want to, that it was trying to in this life. So that's basically why I wanted to share this, and I hope you enjoyed it. So that's basically like what I think happens. I know that was a lot of information, but if that was interesting to you or you liked this video, let me know. Yeah, that's just like, I guess that's all I have to share. So thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting me on my journey and being part of it. And as always, guys, make sure to seek your truth and to take time for yourself and be the best you. And I will catch you in my next video. Bye for now, guys.